Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with our discussions and discoveries with respect to those works that can be found in this fabulous set, which is known here as Pioneers of African American Cinema. This happens to be the 5-disc Blu-ray set, which was released by Kino Classics several years back. It has, I think, there are a number of ways by which one can watch this curated set of films, one of which being this great Kino Classics Blu-ray set. And it has been my great honor to be able to go through each of the works that are included in this wonderful set, which brings us today to those works which are included on the 5th and final Blu-ray disc of this set. Specifically on such 5th Blu-ray disc, there is a splendid interview, a videotaped interview, or maybe a series of interview excerpts that are combined together in one work, shall we say, which is included as part of this 5th disc. It is approximately 33 minutes, and the booklet that is included with the set describes it as being from circa 1978, and it is given the title of The Moses Sisters Interview. The Moses Sisters Interview is an interview which we understand was shot and also conducted and moderated by the great film scholar, historian, expert extraordinaire, Pearl Bowser. And Pearl Bowser met the Moses sisters, who are Ethel Moses and Lucia Moses and also Julia Moses. And so we have here as I say, a series of discussions or interviews which seem to be maybe part of the same session or maybe separate sessions, but then they are combined together to form this one work, which is the Moses Sisters interview. So this is a really wonderful interview, or series of interviews or discussions, for a number of reasons. I should point out as well that the booklet, which is part of this wonderful Kino Classics package, has an essay which is by Rhea L. Combs, which is called A Special Discovery, Pearl Bowser and the Moses Sisters. And this begins on page 50 of this booklet, and it goes over into page 50, 51, and then 52. And so this interview combined with this essay, I think, forms a splendid, say, discussion, a splendid window into various aspects of film history, as well as the experiences of these individuals in the context of their, say, experiences in terms of nightclub performing and performances. There's a lot of mentions of their times, for instance, in Harlem and the Cotton Club, and how they ended up entering into the world of, say, nightclub performance entertainment, and how, and each sister has her own, say, perspective or viewpoint on that, because the experiences, while similar, they're also very distinct from each other, which is another interesting aspect of this collection of discussions or interviews. So this is one aspect which is really quite fascinating, and we hear we hear the three of them discuss names. They share some anecdotes about the times, and so this is, I think, one of the very interesting aspects, because we get firsthand accounts of the times and the nightclub experience life, and the entertainment or traveling entertainment troupe life. And if we can tie it back to some of the works that we saw in pioneers of African American cinema, because, for example, we do see aspects of the nightlife, Harlem nightlife, depicted in a number of works, say, by Oscar Micheaux. Also, we get a glimpse of it in, say, the most recent work that we discussed, Dirty Gertie from Harlem, USA, the Spencer Williams work, etc. And so this, I think, provides that, say, real-life account experience that we have also seen of episodes and, say, situations that perhaps are alluded to in cinematic form in some of those works that I mentioned, plus others, of course, that are included in this wonderful set. So this is a really fascinating aspect of this interview, or these interviews, I should say. Another fascinating aspect is we hear each of the sisters' accounts with regards, say, to their entry into the world of cinema and acting and performance. And this is true of the sisters Ethel and Lucia. Now, Ethel Moses is, if we have the three of them, she is the individual that is on the very far right hand side of the arrangement, of their sitting arrangement, and Julia is in the center, and then Lucia is on the left-hand side. And so we have Ethel Moses speaking at a certain point of this interview about her experiences working, for example, with Oscar Micheaux. And the Oscar Micheaux works that that are mentioned in the interview and also in the essay here are the four works: Temptation from 1936, Underworld from 1937, God's Stepchildren from 1939, and Birthright from 1939. And so, if you recall, we have the Oscar Micheaux works that are featured throughout this set, in particular the sound works that are featured quite prominently on disc 4 of the Blu-ray set. And you can also find the film Birthright there as well. So this is a really interesting link. And so we get, in many ways, this interview, which serves also as a type of supplement or making of behind the scenes with respect to Ethel Moses and her work with Oscar Micheaux. And they share some interesting commentary about working with Oscar Micheaux and the type of person that they perceived him to be, etc. So it's a fascinating insight into that cinematic world, again, which we have explored throughout the course of the set Pioneers of African American Cinema. So this is a very interesting aspect. And then also, speaking of cinema, the Lucia Moses, she speaks too about her experience with the other work, another prominent work that's featured here called The Scar of Shame. And so she speaks a little bit to that when the three of them are together. And then there's a component of the interview where she is speaking one-on-one to, I assume it's Pearl Bowser off camera. And they're talking, and she is being asked about some of her experiences working, say, on the set of The Scar of Shame, working with the other performers, what that was like, and she is remembering to, and they're talking about people that they might have met or might not have been able to meet later on in life, etc. So we have another great, fascinating insight into, say, the behind-the-scenes production of yet another work that can also be found in the earlier stages of this great set, Pioneers of African American Cinema. So that is The Scar of Shame. And then we have Julia Moses speaking to us about her own experiences. She doesn't speak about any cinematic experiences per se, because we understand that she did not get involved in the cinema like her other sisters. However, she does speak about her performance life, her entertainment performance life, and also speaks about aspects of her life afterwards. And also she shares some very, I think, poignant and very direct comments about her experiences with regard to skin, her skin complexion, and how she perceives that to have maybe affected her own, say, professional entertainment career in an interesting way. And so this is a really fascinating discussion because it leads into or it connects with this idea or notion that we have also seen discussed, I think, very effectively throughout this series or throughout specific works in the series, this notion of this notion or discussion about skin complexion and how this affects or has the potential of affecting, say, relationships in the context of race representation and race relations. And also, when I speak of race representation, there's also the way in which this, we have seen in other works, cinematic works in the set, how that has affected specific characters and their own internal psychologies. And it's a really, there's so much insight as well when we hear Julia Moses speak to this point, because it really gives in a way, it gives this real life, lived in experience voice to this theme or topic, which we have seen, as I say, discussed so effectively throughout many points of this set. And now we get, as I say, an interview, a very candid and very intimate interview, speaking directly to this point, as well as other points of their lives and their experiences. So the Moses sisters interview, what a real treasure. This is a beautiful treasure. There is so much of their lives, there's so much of their personalities as well that comes forth. We see the dynamic between and among the sisters as well, and we hear a little bit about, and we see how they react to each other, how there might be some character traits that appear perhaps immediately upon watching. And that's another very, I think, affectionate aspect of this particular interview, just to see the lives of these women who are very, very important, as I say, in the context of the films that we have seen thus far in the set, as well as hearing their experiences, both professional and personal. And then also getting a chance to get to know a little bit more about them, again, based on how they are talking among themselves and also with Pearl Bowser. And also I should mention Pearl Bowser. Pearl Bowser is a figure, a historian, a scholar whose work is vital, it is important. It is so, her voice and her insights and her observations are so valuable. And so I'm so happy that her name is also being included as part of this wonderful set. Pearl Bowser and her wonderful work, her incredibly important and valuable work must be emphasized. And one such point of such valuable, important work of Pearl Bowser is this interview, the Moses sisters interview. And once again, too, I also must mention the great essay, the Ray Combs essay. Please read this as well. The work by Professors Combs and Bowser, and also the other scholars that are involved with this particular wonderful set, I think must be mentioned. So please check out that essay, and also please check out this interview, the Moses sisters interview. Okay, my friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. I very, very much appreciate it. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.